Hello, I'm Kenny Cruz. Um, Most of you may know me as the host of Gaytopix. Most of you may not know me at all, particularly those in my own community, my own family. I have no identity. I don't even know who I am. There's so many things that I question and wonder why. This past year has been very difficult on me. Very, very difficult. And I served in the war. I served from 1996 to 2005, once in Iraq and another tour of duty in Kabul, Afghanistan. I was also a victim of child sexual abuse, a victim of the system, a victim of bullying. I'm also gay. I'm also a victim of hatred. I hate to play the victim card, but when you only know something, and there's no outside information or someone that you can actually trust to tell you otherwise, then you gotta listen to your thoughts. Moreover, your instincts are always right. So what you're thinking is more than likely to be true. But it can also be damaging, as I found out recently this year. Many say the pandemic was really hard, and the pandemic was hard on all of us, but coming out of it was extremely difficult for me. Because during the pandemic, as many of you know, my dog of 21 years passed away, and I was going through, you know, watching him die, and it was very painful for me because I essentially was dying too. And people don't seem to understand that. Like, there's a story behind him, and I'm tired of telling the story behind him. And the reason why he's named Bill Clinton, or he was named Bill Clinton. I look at pictures now and see Bill Clinton now, and it's only a matter of time because I knew once my Bill Clinton died, the real Bill Clinton, who he was named after, will eventually surpass as well. And I hope he lives a long life. I really do, because I respect the man greatly. I really do. To name my best friend after him, I gotta like him. But there was a story behind him, and for 2 decades, please put that into perspective. For 2 decades, he was always within sight of me, an arm's reach of me, for over 2 decades. And I've gone through a lot. I've gone through a lot. I was in war. He was with me in Afghanistan. We were on a plane, we were on the subway. We were traveling the streets of Manhattan off leash. He was at nursing homes, you know, had many friends, gave many speeches. It was like he was an actual person, and that was the only thing that I had in my life. And my most of my adult life, because I just turned 50 on Friday. So most of my adult life, the only companion I had was a dog. Many children have, imaginary friends or their favorite toys, but I actually had a dog, and that emotional connection was beyond anything that anyone could ever imagine. Even if you were with someone, for 21 years, even if you were with that person for over 2 decades, it's still, shit, somebody's watching me. I hate that because I get to the point and then it stops. I'm glad I'm still going. So imagine that. Let's do it again. Even if you were with someone for 2 decades, imagine that. Put that into perspective. That you've been with a significant other or a partner or a friend for 21 years, and that friend passes away. Can you imagine what that does to you? But with a dog, it's different because the dog is an inner reflection of you. And as I slowly watched Bill Clinton die, I was dying myself. You know, I lost lack of interest in things that I normally did, but that was because I was caring for him, you know, and being there for him at his last moments. I did episodes of Gaytopix where I explained that, you know, I moved my mattress into the living room just so I can sleep next to him. You know, I was also bottle feeding him and cuddling as much as possible because in a way watching him slowly die was preparing me, but it didn't prepare me because when he did pass, it was calm and at first because I knew he was at peace, but once I got home and I was alone, it hit me. And I found myself calling Tmobile and I spoke to an operator and we are all assigned a team of experts, and my team of experts comes from Augusta, Georgia. Sometimes when I call, I get the same operator, so or the same expert, and it's kind of cool because we develop a relationship. Particularly with me, the fact that I don't have friends or family, having someone that actually knows something about me is very intriguing, and it helps a lot. It really does because I have a sense that this person knows me and knows, you know, certain things about me. So I commend T-Mobile for bringing that into play because it brings it like a family unit, you know, and I'm very honored to be a loyal customer. And a lot of them don't know this, but I've been a loyal customer for a long time since I've had my phone number, and I've had my phone number just as long as my dog, you know, Bill Clinton, and it doesn't show the records because the records don't go back that far, you know, because after the year 2000, everything was, you know, wiped clean. But once I had my phone number, because I remember specifically, I couldn't get a line because my credit was horrible, and it still is. But I couldn't get a line, and my sister put me on her line and added the line. Unbeknownst to me, you know, what she would do, but I did anyway. But I think she was following the direction of my mom because I was working at McDonald's at the time, so I could afford the bill. I actually had cable too. My mother wouldn't let me watch TV, so I bought cable and had my own extension in my own room. But I remember having the phone for so long and the phone number, and I remember the bill kept getting higher and higher, and I'm like, why is the bill getting higher? Back then you had to pay for minutes, and the night and weekends were free after 7 p.m. and then sometimes 9 p.m. and you had to pay for your minutes, and there was no such thing as texting. So the bill kept getting higher and higher. I'm like, why is my bill getting higher and higher? I don't understand, because my sister had her bill and I had my bill, and that was the contract. I was handling my business, she was handling her business, although I was on her line. And so the bill kept getting higher and higher, and I'm like, why is it getting higher? My sister stopped paying her bill, and that money that she stopped paying was accumulating onto my bill, and she racked up over $700, and it was a lot of money back then, and I was paying my bill, and it just kept getting really bad, and I couldn't do anything because I was not the authorized user of their account. And they kept billing me and wanting to put me in the collections, and I'm like, it's not my fault. And I fought for the line, and I had to get my sister, which took a lot, of begging and persuading her because she wasn't going to pay the bill anyway, to get her to sign, to say that I was the authorized user. Once she did that, I got my phone number. My phone number was 718. After the 718 phone number, there was a law in New York City. Not many people had cell phones. So it was very, 917 or 347. 347 was relatively new too, but it was usually 917. And 718, 212, 516, were all designated for New York City landline phones. So the fact that I had a 718 phone number, I actually had to pay taxes on that. So that was also accumulating to my bill getting high. It goes back that far, and they don't say that, it only goes back as far as when I got my first iPhone, which is when Tmobile did, because at first they didn't carry the iPhone. I remember having a sidekick too, Dwayne Wade. I think that was his first major endorsement, to be honest with you, was the sidekick. And Paris Hilton too, with her sidekick, And then in the movie Devil Wears Prada, Anne Hathaway threw the sidekick in the fountain at the end. It was a good phone because it was like a little mini laptop. Actually, as technology is advanced, they should do something similar to that. I would be down. Anyway, I forget my train of thought now. Oh, bingo. Okay. So when Bill Clinton died, it became a huge, burden on me, because for the first time in my life, I realized that I was truly alone. And there's no one to turn to. And I hate to compare myself to the former one-term, twice impeached, disgraced President of the United States, but I too have been banned from Facebook. All what's going on, that they're going through Congress and the Russian hacking and the illegal activity and child, bribery per se is happening, to get kids involved in Facebook. It's showing my chest is heartbreaking, because that was what my brand was. And many models, as I continue on with Gaytopix, many models have the same statue that I had, and they're not getting reprimanded or punished or banned. My account is in memorialized state. Memorialized state. Do you know what that means? I can't even touch it. It went into memorialized state once before, and I had to prove my identity, and I didn't get authorized with the check mark. So I thought that was strange. You have the authenticity, city of me being who I am, and you don't give me a check mark, So I found that quite odd too. But I'm not on Facebook, and I'm glad I'm not on Facebook. In fact, when Papi Songo left and passed away, because he was being shunned from the very community that paved the way for the actors that he was trying to work with. You know, it made me not want to get on social media at all. Like, there was no point because everywhere I was known as Poppy Sungo. Again, not me. Nobody knows me, but they know my persona, you know, and or assume they did, which is why they blacklisted me. But because I wasn't getting any movie roles and I was auditioning and nothing was happening and I was being blocked by actors and things were being said about me and things of that nature, I just realized being on social media as Poppy Sungo is really makes no sense. And I thought to myself, because I was Poppy Sungo and dealing with that, you know, side of the community, I couldn't use my real name, you know, and I was hesitant in joining social media, so I didn't. But I did. Now, Gaytopix. Because Gaytopix is my licensed trademark business and all rights are reserved. I am the only host to do this, and I kind of like this YouTube version because it shows you who I am, and this is what makes it true and all rights are reserved because this is me and this is my life. This is my story. This is my confessions. Nothing is fake or fabricated about this, and this is my sad life. And right now, I'm a lonely old man, you know, and I haven't had sex in quite a number of years, since 2012 to be exact. And that's not the longest, though. I went longer when I was in the Army, because it was don't ask, don't tell them. So that's not that long, but it is long, you know, considering times now. Um, so when Bill Clinton passed away, I decided to, you know, look for pets. And the best option that I was being told as I was walking, you know, on the walks that we walked. I said this in a previous episode. I found it very disturbing that when I walked without him, no one seemed to care or even mention it or even wave or say hello when I saw these people every single day, you know, and now that he's gone, nobody said anything. But I found tranquility in walking the walks that we used to walk. And one of the persons that I, you know, bumped into suggested Pet Finder. So I adopted through Pet Finder. This agency, it after agency after agency after agency after agency kept denying me adoption, telling me although we think it's a good fit, it's not a right home, or it's a right home but we don't think it's a good fit. I don't understand that. My dog lived to be 21. That should check everything off, and all my boxes should be checked. Not to mention I'm a military veteran, a sergeant at that, who served in the K-9 unit as I served infantry in Kabul. So I don't understand how it is that you think an actual trainer is not a good fit for a puppy. And I've never been denied a service that I was paying for. So it made no sense to me, you know. And each application was like the SATs. And they were asking so many redundant questions, you know. Like, if you remember the SATs, like, the problem would be 1 page long. And then the answer ended up being like one. I actually did that. I got so fed up, you know, taking them. I was like 1110112, you know, because that's usually a common answer. I did fairly well too. Got 1500. Anyway, so this, I finally got fed up because it was making the grieving process much more difficult because it was like a brick in my face. And I got more frustrated when I kept getting rejected, you know, because they send an auto message, an auto email reply message. and I would never hear from them again. And so I finally gave up. But in June, so now we go from January to June. In June, I adopt a dog named Bingo. Well, his name was Carter, and I changed it to Bingo. I'm going to get to that right now. This company, Louis Legacy, who's got great reviews on Facebook and was featured on the Drew Barrymore show as a great adoption agency. So I applied for at least 6 dogs and they all denied me. In fact, they had the gall to not mention who was communicating with me but via email, but they had the gall to send me an email and reference Vets for Pets, or Pets for Vets, which is a nonprofit agency that helps vets like myself training animals and getting them the services that they need as far as pets. Knowing how important it is for a vet who served in the war to have a pet. But again, no one in these emails was mentioning who they were or a name or anything like that, but they were referring me elsewhere. So I thought that was strange. Why would you communicate with me after rejecting my application and then refer me somewhere else and continue to reject my applications? I had enough and was like, that's it. I'm not going to go through this no more. Perhaps my purpose is not, to love a dog and have my best friend and companion and my family and my only means of love is a dog. And if my family became estranged, then I would eventually become estranged and I would no longer exist. And having a dog would help me exist. So when I was being rejected, again, it was as if I had no identity or didn't exist. And so I gave up. A week later, which happened to be the 6-month anniversary of when Bill Clinton died, an employee of Louis Legacy reached out to me and told me she was going to help me because her brother also served and understands the trauma we suffer as vets and people who serve this country. So she was going to do everything in her power to help me get a dog. She showed me several dogs via text message. I was the first to see the dogs, unbeknownst to her, bosses and supervisors. So she was doing it on the low and very secretive. But I was very grateful, so I allowed the process to happen and continue because I knew the outcome would be me blessed with a new family. And she showed me Bingo, and I say yes. And we go through the process, and I meet her mentor. I don't know if this mentor works for the agency or not, but I paid the mentor, and I was given the adoption. I have that on video where she says, here's your new daddy, and technically he is my son. But the issue that I have, because he's a beautiful dog, he's a wonderful dog, he's extremely adorable, he's very well liked, children love him, he loves children, which is very remarkable for a dog his age. He walks very well off leash. He does even better in a dog run where he wants to play with everybody. Every single dog that's in there, he wants to play with them. And they actually run with him. And it's very beautiful to see him interact and be social. He has a beautiful life. This is the only life he's known because he's lived in cages and crates until the day I adopted him. And to take that away from him is simply immoral and inhumane because you're looking out for the best interest of the dog, but his best interest is here. I'll get into that a little bit later, but let's continue on with the story. She shows me Bingo, I adopt Bingo, and Bingo had a problem with peeing. He follows every command, sit, stay, wait, lay, 5, come, you know, lay down. He knows every single basic command, but his peeing is really out of control. You know, he does number 2 outside. I trained him to do that, but he can't. He does number 1, but most of the time nothing comes out because all of it is wasted in my house. It's on my floor. The floors are starting to buckle. The smell is disgusting. The furniture is destroyed. I'm willing to overlook all that because I know what will happen once he leaves. And once he leaves, I'm going to be in that depressive state again when I was mourning. As a matter of fact, I'm still mourning because I miss my dog a lot. I miss him a lot. And bingo is a good distraction and a good help because we're emotionally connected. And I see myself in him in somewhat. I guess it's too soon, but I do see myself in him, particularly when we're walking off leash. I'm very excited and very proud to have him as my dog, and I don't see him going anywhere else. But I called my contact and I explained this to my contact about the urine and the peeing and stuff, and she suggested I call the rescue. I was hesitant in doing so because they had denied my application and rejected me before. So whatever I said was going to make me look bad. It made me look really bad because when I called asking for simple advice, because I looked at YouTube, I hired a trainer, I did several different alternatives and tried to get him to stop peeing, but his peeing is just consistent, and it's non-stopping. She suggested that he has a urinary tract infection. That means you adopted being a sick dog. Not to mention, I had to get him fully vaccinated when you said he was vaccinated. So not only was he not fully vaccinated, but you gave me a sick dog. Moreover, he was neutered at 6 weeks. Is it perhaps your vet cut and snipped something that wasn't supposed to be cut and snipped, and which is why he's having bladder problems? Some people are like, well, he's a puppy, he'll get over it within 6 or 7 months. But she was so adamant about him having a UTI. I didn't understand that. You're not a trained veterinarian. You're not a licensed veterinarian. You're not a doctor in veterinarian medicine. All you do is rescue dogs from one crate to the next crate to the next crate and give them to people. That's your job. So I don't understand where she was coming from or even trying to suggest that. So knowing as dogs as well as I do, because I do have 21 years experience, so knowing dogs as well as I do, I know it's not that, but there has to be a way like I can get inside his head or maybe know his history to know why he's doing that. Because just like every child, when a child pees the bed, the child is peeing the bed because there's something wrong and you need to pay attention. He's peeing on my floors because there's something wrong and there's something that needs to be paid attention to. And you going crazy and ballistic for a urinary tract infection is really disturbing. But what makes this story so disturbing is that as I'm trying to explain to her that I don't think that's what it is, she had me secretly transcribed or was having me secretly transcribed on the phone, giving to her supervisor, and then the supervisor was giving the transcript to the police. Unbeknownst to me, I had no idea they were on the phone. I thought it was just me and this woman who never met me from a can of paint. None of them did. None of them did. None of them know me. None of them know anything about me. None of them even know what the dog's name was. You specifically said, or who my contact specifically said when I adopted Bingo, was to keep in touch. anything goes wrong or I have any questions or concerns was to reach out to you. That is exactly what I did. So when I reached out to you, you, because I didn't think that it was a urinary tract infection, and I was disputing the fact that you want to take him away from me, the only home he's known. You were not going to take him away from me, and I was protesting that. And because I was doing that, you made the police come into my house and have me forcibly removed from my home. They threw me against the wall, put me in handcuffs, and escorted me out of my apartment. Then, while you had me committed, because that's exactly what you did, because you thought that I had some mental illness, but put this into perspective. Anyone that you think is in mental distress or has a mental illness, what makes you think taking them from their safe space and having them forcibly removed by 8 police officers in handcuffs, being put into a mental detention center, is going to solve the problem? You're looking out for the best interest of the dog, right? You're not caring about what you're doing for me. You're only looking out for the dog. So let's go back to the dog. You taking me away from my house and leaving Bingo here all by himself. How is that looking out for his best interest? How? He's a puppy. He needs to be around. Somebody needs to be around him 24/7. I don't understand that. And so they take me to this place, and I'm in this place where I'm in handcuffs, and at least it's not to a bed. But I'm in this place, and everyone's throwing all these questions at me, but I still can't get over the fact that this woman, who does not know me from a can of paint, was able to dictate my life and tell the authorities in law enforcement what my life and dictate my life and tell me how I was saying things and doing things and what she thought I was doing or what I was saying, and she was able to dictate my life and tell it to them and then have them arrest me. Who is this woman? She doesn't know me. She's not a relative. She's not a friend. Why would you do that to somebody? More importantly, why would you do that to the poor dog? So while I was being detained, I overheard the police officer talking to her, and them having a whole plan was to have me go into the hospital and then them sneak into the house and take the dog while I was being evaluated by doctors. So that was their whole plan from the get-go, was to get me out of the house to get the dog. Is that all necessary for a urinary tract infection? The reason why I don't believe it's a urinary tract infection is because when there is an infection persistent in someone, human or a dog or animal, they're lethargic. they have a lack of energy. There is no, because they say when a good poop is a healthy dog. So he doesn't have any diarrhea. The only issue is the peeing. The only issue is the peeing. So how is that any urinary tract infection? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. He would not be the dog he is now, as dominant as he is, if he had that problem. Because he would lay in his bed all day long, sick as a dog. But he's not. But again, this woman who is not a veterinarian is able to dictate my life and tell authorities on what she thought she knew of me. So what she thought she knew of me was that I was in a mental health crisis and I needed to be evaluated right away. Involuntary. So she had the unlitigated gall to involuntarily commit me into an institution. I had no say. Everything that I was saying or trying to convey to the authorities was just making me look bad, and it made me had no voice because I didn't want to speak up only to be reprimanded and harassed and analyzed and judged all over again. You know, this is the whole thing with mental health because a lot of people don't seem to understand the umbrella of mental health. And there's so many aspects going on with it. I've never posed a threat to anybody, not even Bingo, not even myself, not even the authorities when they threw me against the wall. Never anyone. So why was I put in a prison? And this woman had the authority to do that. Why? I don't understand that to this day. But me being the forgiven person that I am, because my life goes on without people and I would never hear or see from her again, or so I thought. Because after being evaluated by 3 doctors, I got home. My birthday was on Friday. Yesterday was Monday. I got summoned. She has a celebrity lawyer now on the case and willing to take me to court to take the dog away from me. Anybody is more deserving of an animal. It's someone who served this country. That is all you need to know. Why are you so adamant in refusing to take or wanting to take the dog away from me and refusing to listen to what you're doing to me? Your actions are going to cause so much consequences and damage to my life. When I'm telling you the dog is an emotional attachment already and is very helpful to my life and well-being. Stop looking out for his only interest. Look out for my best interest. Where's your humanity? Where's your compassion? Empathy and respect for someone who served this goddamn country as sergeant. And probably older than you are, so you need to respect your elders. Where is all of this coming from? Who gives you the right to do this to me? You are utterly harassing me. There's that criminality in it. It's harassment. Then there's the recording on the cell phone. Then there's taking away the dog. Then the medical bills that I got now. You know, there's so many damages that I can put into a lawsuit that I'm not willing to do so if you just leave me the fuck alone, because you do not know me and I'm already fed up with your bitchy behavior. Your irrational behavior is destroying my personality. You need to leave me alone. And I'm surprised to even know that you have kids and you have dogs, because any mother would not act in this way. I'm really surprised. And if it just so happens that I have to get a lawyer, I'm going to have to get a lawyer, because guess what? I'm going to fight this to the end. You're not taking my dog from me. You're not taking my only means of love and happiness. You're not. I can't lose 2 dogs in 1 year. I can't. Especially 2 days after my birthday. You're not doing this to me. You're not. And I'm going to find an attorney to represent my case. And if I don't, I'm going to represent myself. And I have evidence and proof on my side, including video. If you had any common sense and any moral respect for your human being or your neighbor or someone you were helping by putting the dog into their home, then you would dismiss this case. That's all I got to say. I know I rambled on and on, but it's really troubling me, because people don't understand that my dog is my only family. My only family. Can a therapist hug you? Can a psychiatrist hug you? No, they can only give you medication. And it's proven many, many, many times medication is not the answer. That's why we have an opioid crisis. My dog is my help. My dog is my emotional support. My dog is my partner in crime. My dog is my everything. In the short amount of time that I've had him, he's able to alleviate all the stress and anxiety that I have dealt with the loss of my dog previously of 21 years. I was amazed by the remarkable burden that was lifted off my chest. because now I had a new family. And this woman comes along, prowling along, prancing along, doing whatever she does, rescuing from one dog from one crate to the next. Specifically here in New York City, because that's where I suspect she wants to take him at. He's still young because he's only 6 months, that she wants to take him now so she can get a higher price for him. But no, you're not getting away with it. You're not. And I'm going to prolong this and get this done because you're not taking my dog. And you're not. You're not taking my dog. It really makes me angry that this person... I shouldn't get angry because then they would use that against me. I shouldn't get angry because they would use it against me. I feel like I'm Britney Spears, where all these people are dictating my life and telling me how to live my life, or what I should do, what I shouldn't do, where to go, where I shouldn't go. But none of them know me. They don't know me from a can of paint. What's my favorite color? Again, the fact that I served my country for 10 years and my dog lived to be 21. What dog do you know lived to be 21? Is enough said. Case dismissed. Goodbye. That's it. I'm Kenny Cruz, and this is my I'm Kenny Cruz, and I'm out.